Brentwood's median home price just dropped 13% in 1 month. But before you panic or celebrate, I want to show you what's actually happening in the numbers, because on the surface, this headline is misleading, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what it means whether you're buying, selling, or just watching Brentwood from the sidelines. Quick note before we dive in, if you're a homeowner in Brentwood and you're curious what these shifts mean for your equity, I've got a free no obligation valuation tool linked in the description. It takes about 2 minutes to fill out, and if you're relocating to Brentwood from out of state, I talk to families making this exact move every single week. Whether you're 30 days out or still 6 months from listing their current home, I'd love to help you think it through. Okay, let's get into the data. Let's start with volume. Brentwood closed 100 homes in July, essentially flat compared to June's 102. So activity held steady. That's important because it tells us this isn't a market where buyers disappeared. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The median sale price fell from 1.58 in June to 1.375 in July. That's a 13% drop in 30 days. If you just saw that headline on Zillow or in a local Facebook group, you think Brentwood is crashing. Well, it's not. Let me show you why. Price per square foot, which is as much more stable apples to apples metric, only dropped 7.5% from 374 to 346. And the sale to list price ratio barely moved from 98.7 down to 97.8. Sellers are still getting nearly full asking price. That's not a crashing market would look like. So what explains the gap between a 13% median drop and only a 7.5% per price drop in square footage? It's mix shift, meaning that the type of home that closed changed, not the value of individual home. In June, Brentwood's closings skewed towards larger, more expensive properties. The average home that closed was 4,400 square feet, and the top sale that month went from 775 that month. In July, the average size dropped to 43.29 a square foot. While we still saw a 6.8 million sale at the top end, there were simply more transactions in the 1.2 to 1.5 million range, pulling down the median. Think of it like this. If a school's average test score drops just because more freshmen took the test alongside seniors, that doesn't mean students got worse at math. Same principle here. The under the hood metrics, price per square foot and sale to list ratio, are the ones that actually tell you what's happening to values. And those barely moved. Here's the stat I think is most important if you're deciding whether to buy or sell right now. Days on market. In June, the median Brentwood home took 15 days to sell. In July, just 9 days. That's 40% faster in a single month. And zooming out to the year-over-year comparison, July 25 versus July 26, homes are selling 36% faster today than they were a year ago, even though prices are essentially flat year over year. Median sale price is actually down just 1.8% compared to last July, from 1.4 to 1.375, but closed sales are up almost 18%. 100 homes this July versus 85 last July. More buyers, more transactions, faster sale, and prices holding steady. That is a healthy, active market, not a cooling one. I also want to give you a sense of the full range of what's moving in Brentwood right now, because median can hide a lot. In July, homes ranged from 480,000 entry-level property all the way up to 6.8 million estate. Square footage ranged from just under 1,630 a square foot to 8,800 square feet. And a year built range homes from 1961 all the way to brand new construction in 2026. That spread matters because it tells you Brentwood isn't one market. It's several markets stacked on top of each other. There's an entry-level tier under $1 million and a broad middle tier from 1.2 to 2 million where most of the volume is happening, and a luxury tier well above 3 million that moves on its own timeline. If you're comparing your situation to the Brentwood market, make sure you're comparing it to the right tier. If you're relocating to Brentwood, especially if you're coming from California, New York, Illinois, or New Jersey, here's my honest read. Don't wait for a crash that isn't coming. A market where the median home sells in 9 days is not a market where you can take your time. If you find a home that checks your boxes, you need to already have your ducks in a row. Pre-approved with a local lender, ideally pre-toured or ready to tour within 24 hours, and clear on your must and must-have nots and nice to haves before you ever walk in the door. I know the fear for a lot of out-of-state buyers isn't the price, it's the unknowns. Are we moving too far out? Will this neighborhood actually fit our lifestyle? Is anyone watching quality while we're 1,000 miles away, especially if we're buying new construction? Those are exactly the right questions to be asking, and they're exactly what a proper relocation process should be built around. Not just sending you listings, but actually walking you through which pockets of Brentwood fit your specific life. And if you're buying new construction, having somebody in your corner who understands what to look for that a builder sales rep won't point out. If you're selling in Brentwood, and especially if you own one of these 90s or early 2000 homes I mentioned, here's the honest truth. You are not automatically losing to new construction, but you also just can't list and hope. The homes dragging that median down aren't bad homes. They're often well-built, established neighborhood homes that simply haven't been updated to compete visually with what buyers are seeing in new builds down the street. I hear most from sellers in this position is some version of, how does my 25-year-old home compete with a brand new build 3 streets over? And the honest answer is, with the right strategy, very well. That usually means a pre-listing consultation to figure out which updates actually move the needle versus which ones are a waste of money. Accurate pricing based on what's really closing in your specific pocket of Brentwood, not the city-wide median. And marketing that goes beyond the MLS, especially if your ideal buyer is somebody relocating from out of state who's doing their entire search from a laptop in another time zone. For those of you thinking about downsizing and capitalizing on years of equity, this is genuinely a strong window. Sales to list ratios near 98%, days on market in single digits, and 18% more buyers in the market than a year ago. That's about as favorable as it gets for getting top dollar with minimal hassle. So to sum it up, Brentwood's median price drop is a story about which home sold, not a story about falling values. Prices per square foot are holding. Homes are selling faster than they have in over a year, and both buyers and sellers who move with a clear strategy are winning right now. If you're thinking about buying or selling in Brentwood, or you just want a second opinion on what the numbers mean for your specific situation, click the link in the description to schedule a free consultation. No pressure, no obligation, just an honest conversation. And if you want to see how Franklin and Fairview compare this month, I've got those breakdowns linked right here as well. Make sure you're subscribed because I put out new Williamson County market updates every single month, and I will see you in the next one.